Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist. First weather here, we have a major winter storm to talk about for the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. It feels like forever. It really has been a while in terms of the next major snowfall for the Mid-Atlantic. The last time we had a big snowstorm for areas south and along DC was I think in December 2018, and that storm missed DC. I was in Central Virginia in Richmond, so we got dumped on with an amazing amount of snowfall, but many areas have not seen that much snowfall this year and the year prior. For example, Philadelphia, they saw 0.3 inches. That was a grand total of snowfall last year. Just unbelievable stuff, right? Well, it looks like we're finally going to break that trend. And as you can see right here, this is the new National Weather Service radar. It has had quite a few hiccups and bumps, but it does show nicely the intensity of the precip. It really helps to, just really dive in, see what's going on, seeing what's happening with the radar. And you can see we actually have a nice little snow band now forming ahead of the system. This was expected, but it has been overperforming just a touch. You can see we are starting to get some intensification now because of that frontogenesis, because of that warm air advection ahead of the system, and that's going to create this initial band. Now, after that band is when we're going to get the next part, where we're going to see some snow come in for central VA, basically all Virginia, and then this storm will then transition off the coast and right up the coast as a Miller B system. So this is going to be a messy system because Miller B, so you have the primary low here, that then transfers to the coast and then goes up. So especially in central VA, we're going to have quite a bit of mixing. We're going to have a lot of rain also for 8-10 hours or so of just temperatures in the mid to upper 30s even. But before that, that's our real shot to get a nice little thumping of snow. And if this band can overperform, that will also be crucial and little, saturating the air because the air is very dry right now, right? So if the air is dry, this initial band can help saturate things up. So when the main event comes, you can get that 5-6 hours of snow and maximize the potential you see with it. Now you can see this is a sprawling system. The primary low is just east of St. Louis. You have snow on the north end, heavy rains on the south end. And this system will then slide gently southeast and then transfer. This will go up the coast. And I think the heaviest area of snow is going to be somewhere in New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, and maybe, eastern Virginia, somewhere near northwestern Virginia. But I think the most likely area for heavy snow is going to be in the New York, New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania area. That doesn't mean you're not going to have heavy snow here or here, but the heaviest bullseye will be somewhere in this area right here. Let me draw that out for you guys real quick. I think somewhere in this area right here is where you're going to have the bullseye. Alrighty. So let's start off with the high resolution rapid refresh model, the HRRR. This is the 0Z run. You can see it has that initial band. It's actually underrepresenting it just a touch. So again, that performance of that band is a good sign. It could, saturate things up, but it does eventually show that. And then after that, you get that main band of snow. Notice how you very quickly have that warm air surging in, and that's because you have that primary low. Excuse me, sorry about that. Well, you have that primary low, right, transferring its energy now to the coast, all right? And while that's happening, before it can get strong enough, you're going to have these easterly winds just coming in aloft and even at the surface, and that's going to really help to pump in warm air from the Atlantic, and that's going to quickly cause temperatures to rise. Even places as far north as Fredericksburg could change to sleet and even rain for a brief part of this system. I think if you're south of Ashland, you're going to be rained for at least more than 5 or 6 hours of steady rain after the snow. And in central and southwestern Virginia, there's also a significant icing risk. Let me change the color so it's easier to see. Let me change it to black. There's also a significant icing risk in this area right here. We could get anywhere from a 1/10 to maybe even half an inch of ice in a few isolated spots. So it's going to be a pretty big deal that's icing here. And because of the really cold temperatures we've seen the past 2 days, highs in the 30s, that's only going to make the situation worse. Now that leads me to my next point. Because of the very cold temperatures we've seen the past couple of days, as soon as it starts snowing, it's going to pile up on the roads, on the grass, and that doesn't mean to say it won't be washed away from the rain that we transition to afterwards. But while it is snowing, it's not going to be melting on the roads for quite a bit. Rather, it's going to really start to stick within the half hour because of that cold road and soil surface temperatures. So anyways, let's go through the HRRR. You can see by 18:00, about 1 p.m. Sunday, we're already changing over to rain and sleet in central VA, still hanging on to snow in northern Virginia. DC is getting pounded. And then as we go through the afternoon, that rain-snow line just pushes northward. And then we have the all-famous dry slot. As that low is in gaining strength, stationed somewhere over here, you're going to have a big influx of dry air being pulled in. That's going to really shut off the precipitation for quite a bit, actually. And then after that, the low strengthens, and then you have some sort of wraparound. That's the real main uncertainty right now. The main question is, how much wraparound are we going to see with this system? Currently, I think the best shot of, some pretty significant accumulation from wraparound is going to be right in this area right here. Maybe up to 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of wraparound and snow. That's a big if. The confidence right now is much higher with the initial part of the system, not really the wraparound and strengthening, because it's going to be essential to see where that low pressure system stalls. If it stalls here, we're in business. If it stalls here, not so much. So that's the main question that needs to be answered. Now, in terms of snowfall, I think the HRRR model is, greatly underplaying the snowfall here, especially because the snow ratios in this area were going to be 20-1 because of those lower temperatures. But I think it does capture sort of the area of heaviest snowfall, I think, along I-81 and north of I-64. You're really going to see those heaviest snowfall amounts here. Now, keep in mind, this model only goes out 48 hours at the 0Z run. So it's not really capturing the wraparound snow. It's not capturing the intense snowfall you're going to see up here as that system strengthens, but it does give you a good picture for what's going to likely happen in Virginia on Sunday and at least into the first half of Monday. Now, here's the NAM. The NAM 0Z model was interesting to say the least. It really almost sort of had this band right here coagulate with the primary band. And if this were to verify, you would get at least another 3, even 4 hours of extra snow in areas along and north of I-64, and that could dump another 2 inches than expected. That would be a huge boom factor for this snowfall. If that happens, then the snowfall forecast for areas north of I-64 just go up by about 2 to 3 inches, just like that. And that's a big if. Will that happen? We don't know yet. It's just one model run, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens as some of the later night data comes in with the RGEM, with some of the other models. Going to be really interesting to see what they say. Now, as you can see, the NAM also very quickly changing over to rain by about 1 p.m. Sunday. Significant icing right here in southwestern Virginia and central VA. Still snow in DC. It goes right up. But the thing is, with DC, as the precip is almost ending, that's when you really change over to snow. So most of the event should be snow for DC, at least on Sunday. And then you can see the NAM. It doesn't show too much of wraparound. Really, it doesn't show that much. It shows some snow here with the convective and upscale snow showers, but nothing much really east of the Appalachians. So that's pretty interesting to note. Here is the NAM snowfall. This is, again, way, way overdone for these areas right here. This is including sleet, freezing rain, which is just not accurate at all. But I think it does, again, show that the heaviest snow will be sort of in these regions right here. Now, here's the RGEM. The RGEM is the Canadian model. It has a nasty cold bias. For example, it was forecasting a 0Z temperature of about 26 degrees. The actual 0Z, 32. So it is a bit of a cold bias, but it does a good job in showing where the heaviest snow will set up and sort of the nature of the system. Let's go through the RGEM. You can see it has that initial snow band, then the heavy snow before a quick change over to rain and mix, and mostly rain for areas south and along Richmond, and that it shows quite a bit of wraparound, right? So this would be another 4 or 5 inches, maybe even 6 inches in northern Virginia and DC if this verifies, right? So that's the big wild card because it has that low stalling right here, all right? And that's going to just pump moisture and snow back into northern Virginia, and that would mean a lot more snow than expected. And that's the main question right now, because this is valid for late Monday into Tuesday, which is still quite a bit away, right? So this is a long duration event, and what happens then could really sort of change the overall outcome and snowfall accumulation with the system. Here's the RGEM snowfall. You can see it just dumps right here with that wraparound. I think 30, 40 inches, that's nonsense. That's not going to happen. But maybe half that, maybe 15 to 20, maybe in this spot right here. It actually has that wraparound going right over DC. And that's the thing. None of the other models show that. But this one does right here. Some of the other models have wraparound in New Jersey, while this one has it in Northern Virginia and Maryland. So that's the main question we're going to have to figure out. But you can see it also does show that heavier snow is still remaining in northwestern Virginia, at least for the Sunday event. Now here is the European ensemble. You can see I really like what the European ensemble is showing. It's been remarkably consistent. It again shows the heaviest snow in New Jersey, but also some heavier snow in Western Virginia, and that main area of 6+ inches being north and along of I-81, or along I-81 and north of I-64. And you can see that sharp cutoff as you go from western central VA all the way down to eastern central Virginia. You're talking about a 4 or 5 inch difference in just about 30 miles, right? So that's a huge cutoff, and that's going to be the main tricky part to forecast. Now here's the vorticity and 500 millibar geopotential height in the NAM. This is a good indicator to see where that heavy snow and banding could really set up, right? And let's take this through. So this is the big system right here. Then it transitions off the coast. And look at this fire hose. You have this just straight winds coming right off the Atlantic Ocean. That is a huge moisture fetch, right? So you're doing warm air advection, moisture fetch. That could, cause some mixing problems. But in areas that are just cold enough for snow, we're talking about a lot of moisture and a lot of instability. And that could create some very heavy snow bands right here, right? And you can see that really just spins out and then goes through like that. Also known as this feature right here. Right, this is the product of some frontogenesis, right? And so as this pivots right here, that could cause, again, some, very locally heavy snowfall totals somewhere in this region. So it's going to be localized, but somewhere in ranging from Nova to New Jersey is going to see a jackpot. 20, maybe even 22, 24 inches of snow. But that area is going to be very localized. It's not going to be a widespread event. The problem is we don't know, or have almost basically no idea where that bullseye is going to be, besides somewhere in this area. And that's only going to become more clear as we get closer in time, and that's the issue. Now finally, here is the European ensemble. This is a great tool to see where those cluster of lows are and if the models are increasing in confidence. This is the 18Z European ensemble. And you can see it has that main cluster right around here, all right? And then you go another 6 hours right around here. So it's kind of stalling it almost south of New Jersey near, the Delmarva. And so that would mean, not too much wraparound for Virginia, right? But it would mean a lot of wraparound for New Jersey, DC, right? That would mean a lot more snow in these areas. If we look at the 12Z, you can see there was much more uncertainty. You had a camp here out to sea, and you had another camp over here. But now you're starting to see that consolidation with the system starting to move a little bit west, a little bit north, somewhere here. So according to the European, this is going to stall somewhere in this region right here. Let me draw it out for you guys. Somewhere right here is where this is going to stall. And if that does happen, we're going to see most of the wraparound snow really being right here. If the stall is right here, for example, just a bit further south, the wraparound will really be in this region. Right now, I don't think it's going to go that far south. I think this is actually a pretty reasonable solution. But again, things could change. This is for Monday, right? This is for a couple of days away. And as we've seen with many winter systems, trends are your friend, and they can really be significant in the hours leading up to a storm system. So again, the only thing we can do is just wait and see what happens, monitor the trends, and just adjust our forecast as we go through it with it. Now, without further ado, here is my winter storm forecast for 1/31 to February 2nd. And the main wild card here is, again, the snowfall, the wraparound snowfall. Let me go to slideshow real quick to make it all nice and tidy. But again, the main wild factor is going to be that wraparound snow. I think if you're in the Richmond metro, 2 to 5 inches is a good bet. The main snow will really be from that initial thumping. South of that, 1 to 3. All right, and then Charlottesville about 6 to 10, DC 6 to 10. But I think DC, if you get that wraparound snow, you could easily double that snowfall just in an instant, a few hours, right? So that's going to be the main issue and concern to see what really happens with that. But I think the best shot of seeing some significant snowfall is when you go to places like Winchester, right? Northwestern Virginia, 8 to 12 plus. And that's going to be because of those higher snowfall ratios, 20 to 1 instead of 10 or even 8 to 1 as you go further south. That's going to really allow that snow to stack up and accumulate quickly. So again, you can see that sort of northwest to southeast gradient, with that tightest gradient being somewhere in the Richmond metro area, right along the fault line, as it usually is because of that elevation, rapid elevation change. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, got a brief idea of what's going on, and if you're a snow lover, I wish you good luck in seeing a good snow. If you're a snow hater, bad luck. You've had very snow-free winters for the past 2 years, and there's always a chance that, the system could bust. But I think right now, I'm pretty confident in my forecast. I think you're going to see a sharp gradient here, pretty significant snows in far northwestern Virginia, and that overall there should be a pretty healthy winter storm. It's going to be a pretty good one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.